The next speech should shortly introduce our bibliographical data working group, which was already slightly discussed in Sali's speech, but we would like to shortly introduce ourselves from the position of the co-chairs of the or the chairs of the working group. Our bibliographical data working group's mission is basically to gather the people, researchers, data curators, IT developers and so on, which are interested in bibliographical data in any sense or in any manner, and to create a platform for mutual discussion and exchange of the ideas. So that was the reason why we have with Tomek started this bibliographical data working group 3 years ago. And you can, in the next slides, have a link for the list of our members. Currently, we have more than 40 members from more than 15 European countries at the moment. And our members contains not only researchers such as book historians, bibliometrics or scientometric specialists or cultural analytics, but also data creators, data curators, and developers of the software. What we have done and what we have achieved during first 3 years of our official existence. Firstly, we have created a white paper, a report on current European bibliodata landscape, which was published recently in the spring and was introduced during this year's Daraya annual event in Athens, Greece, in the beginning of June, and you can also have a link for the online version of this report, which is available at Zenodo. We are doing and organizing mainly the events as well as online as in person. This is, I think, currently our, let's say, third larger event, and definitely the largest one, and maybe the first official in-person one, because 2 previous ones at the very least online because of the COVID pandemic. And of course, we are trying to create a grant proposal, including the application for the cost action. We are currently discussing, and some of you who were in the morning in the internal meeting of the working group are or can confirm that we are progressing also in this topic. So, publication, I have already mentioned that Bibliodata Landscape Analysis Report, and it's available not only in the, let's say, text file, but if you are, lazy to read, you can check, or you can see our report in the video format, which was read and commented by Tomek and Mikko Tolonen, who is 3 or 2 stairs or 2 floors under us and conducting some teaching, but he will join us in a while. So for those who prefer to watch the reports on video, there is also a possibility to watch it in a video form. And here is the list of the most important workshop. You can see that this is our current fifth publicly available event, and probably I do not have to mention all of them. If you would be interested in any of them, we are always trying to record them, and they are available on the YouTube channel of Daraya. So if you would be interested to look and watch our previous events or workshop, the links will be available in that presentation we will share later on.
Thanks, Wojtek, and hello to all. So now we transition to the little bit of a introduction to what will be going on today and tomorrow and on Friday. So what we've been trying to achieve through those events, through the publication, which was the landscape report, we are trying to really identify concrete and tangible problems that we would like to work on, also with diverse stakeholders, including the cultural heritage institutions. And there were and we have also had a workshop which was hybrid, unfortunately, but with national libraries. It was, I think, 1 year ago or something, in September 2021. And then, and also in the report, we have found some issues that are definitely connecting the researchers and the GLAM institutions. So it can be easily noticed when we speak the same language, although we are in different sectors, but we understand each other very well. And what we will start today is one of those issues that is described in different kind of in different terms, but is perfectly understandable to both researchers and GLAM institutions, which are FRBR-based implementations. So on the other, which has been talked about in the librarian community forever, but is also critical for any kind of research. And there are a lot of interactions around this topic during our previous events. So this will be the start, and it's something that is kind of a very good exemplification to a topic that really connects all the actors in the bibliodata landscape. Further on, we will also have sessions for opening bibliodata collections, especially around the Wikidata community and their interoperability and linked data solutions, which are the topics that we consider, and we've seen that they are important to just exchange knowledge, to get training. So we try to invite speakers that will be very, listening to is very beneficial to both researchers and cultural institutions, and that is something that clearly we want to learn more about. And also, what we try to do during this event is explore new areas and growing trends. And one of those, and specifically the trend that we want to explore during this event are the intersections between textual data enrichment and automated metadata generation, or in other words, intersections of natural language processing and metadata processing. This is a topic that we want to get involved more, seeing a lot of implementations, a lot of ideas around this in different parts of the landscape. In research sector, research infrastructures, in GLAM, in research itself. So, as probably most of you know, especially those who work in libraries, so most of the metadata is being still done manually in libraries. Right now, we're sitting here, there are thousands of people just processing real documents and writing the data in some usually marked formats and to the databases. That is still going on. Something digital humanities, we think that we have kind of grow up and we are doing different things, but no, we are doing manually the metadata creation, and we will always be doing that, and it's very important. But at the same time, there are the trends that we also identified in a report, and one of those trends is automation of data processing. That is clearly there and has different facets, and one of them is definitely creating metadata descriptions or enriching them automatically, whether to help catalogers or just to omit cataloging intellectually or analytically. And because we have too much data at some point, they are pressing us coming from the digitization processes or from internet, and we want to somehow manage this process. So, in other words, when we are processing data in the humanities today, we always need to involve in modern pipelines, automatic metadata enrichment and metadata creation. Because in most cases, we are working with just too much data to analyze them qualitatively. So we are either extracting metadata automatically, structuring, parsing them, trying to understand them automatically, or we are generating metadata automatically through NLP, through LOD technologies. And this could be because we have documents that don't have metadata, and we have a lot of them, or it could be that we have a lot of noisy and messy data, and it's sometimes easier to apply one method to automatically generate metadata rather than harmonize very diverse descriptions of documents. So what we are trying to achieve today, and well, tomorrow, especially in the sessions that relate to this topic, is kind of understand how the NLP technologies and methods, there are just some examples on the slide, how they are being used in different parts of contemporary landscape. So on the one hand, we'll take a look at large digitization projects that wants to semantically segment the text, that wants to provide them digital representation. They want to extract knowledge. They want to provide discovery systems to, for example, newspapers, collections, but they are kind of more for digitization of the text. On the other hand, we'll look at this issue from the automated metadata generation. So the implementations like ANIF that is being done in National Library of Finland, or so automated metadata generation in OpenAIRE. So those metadata aggregators on catalogs that are really in this business for creating automatically metadata. So those are two segments, and you will see that in the sessions for tomorrow, they are both present, and we are curious to see how much interaction and overlap is between those communities and how we can work together. But there is a third element to it. So NLP is developing on its own, and whatever we are doing by creating digitizing textual collections and creating metadata to describe them, we are also creating training data for NLP. We are pre-processing training data for them. So either by providing more and more texts with quality metadata that can be used to train statistical models, or what we are doing is we are changing or enriching the descriptions of documents, which could also improve the effects of say machine learning techniques when they are applied to metadata generation. So this is kind of our view of this problem, and it's why we want to bring different people to look at this issue together and to realize the connections that are there and the possibility for mutual learning. So that's why when we are trying to come up with a lineup for this event, we are contacting both the NLP infrastructures and cultural heritage institutions, research infrastructure, and researchers themselves to bring them together and look at this issue. And that's basically how the program for this event was constructed, the mutual learning workshop, where we have different people on board and what we are trying to do. Yeah, that's the last slide. So our goal is to provide training and mutual learning possibilities, of course, but also to kind of define interdisciplinary problems and define the mutual goals, and try to come up with the definitions that are understandable to all the actors, and allow us to cooperate, because sometimes we are working kind of in silos. So that's our goal, and after this event, what we promised to Daria, and we will of course deliver, and we will try to deliver a joint short statement about one or a couple of the issues that we'll be discussing today. So please, especially the presenters, don't be surprised if you just receive some text to consult. We want to, as a working group, have some statements around the issues that we are discussing, and then publish it for everyone to read. It's kind of also a next step for our working group, that we did a large report on the landscape, and now we think that it's important to have our voice in a more concrete problems, and this is what we want to deliver after this event. So, and of course, if you are not following us yet on Twitter, then follow us on Twitter, when you can find all the relevant information about our working group. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomek. Are there any questions? Yes. Maybe we will also start once again, we will start in the room and then pass the word to Sally. So if I may ask, Linda Janzová.
Okay, so my question is, maybe I have missed it, but have you also considered publishers in this context? I mean, publishers create various kinds of materials, and so there is a chance that they may be able to provide some metadata, which then, for example, librarians can elaborate on. This is one question. And the second question, have you also considered crowdsourcing, meaning involving humans rather than just machines?
Okay, as to first one, we have of course identified the publishers as the important stakeholders within the bibliographic landscape. But maybe if you were asking concretely on the membership or on the members of our working group, as far as I know, Tomek, currently there is no publisher. Maybe we have a bad promotion in this direction, but definitely it might be improved in the future. So this maybe to the publishers, and as to the crowdsourcing. On general level, we are creating or working with quite a lot of bibliographic databases, tools and services, and part of them is using crowdsourcing, but basically it depends on the specific source. As it tackles our working group, there is no specific, activity which should be taking into account crowdsourcing moment.
One sentence about the publishers. In our reports, we have them as one of the stakeholders in the landscape. So we have them we see them, but we haven't been able maybe to build as strong relations with them yet, especially especially the commercial ones, because usually when we are talking about the research, we treat them also as part of the research infrastructure. So they are there when they are part of the research institutions. Then those publishers we are in contact with because they are kind of in the meetings and so on, but not the publishers that are there outside of the research infrastructure. That's something that we don't have yet.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
Sally?
If not, there should be a question from Sally. Give us a while. And yes, Sally would like to ask, so maybe floor is yours.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And it's wonderful to see all of the results that have come out and, that have been published in Open Science Ways as well. My question is related. I really loved the slide you had on humanities infrastructure for the future of metadata. And I just wondered, you mentioned a couple of things. One, the importance of working with colleagues from, for example, NLP or other different parts of Daria. And I just wondered, how do you see this infrastructure being developed? So this, in some ways, cross-working group, perhaps, infrastructure, and how could Daria help you realize these goals?
Well, in fact, who has done this great slide is Czarek, who is here, Cezary, and Agnieszka, and is Czarek here? I don't see him, but he should be somewhere here, and we've done it within, actually, this pipeline is from another Daria project, but this is national Daria project. This is Daria Lab project, and it's a very large project, and we try to kind of cover all the whole pipeline for processing metadata and look into the future. And basically, our point of emphasis then is that we need to be prepared for automatic creation and enrichment of metadata, and to cover all the points there. And that was the case. That's why, for example, we started as a bibliographic department in Poland, but when we had the ability to grow our data team, we hired not only bibliographic people, but we hired an NLP expert to work with us now for 3 years to understand. So she understands metadata, and she can also teach us about how the NLP intersects with metadata. Because I think it's very valuable to create those kind of connections. As Agnieszka Karlińska is the person, she was hired here. She was totally an NLP person. So we have, here we say that metadata is everything, and she says that NLP research is everything, but that's very fruitful collaboration then. So that's the context for this pipeline.
Wonderful. And I think going back to what I said in my presentation, if you can find a way to share that so that other people can start setting up, because what would be lovely to see is this sort of architectural diagram and how it could be implemented in different in different institutions, in different DARIAs. I mean, if this is DARIA Poland and the DARIA Poland labs, which are absolutely excellent, if that could be sort of been inspiration for other people to set up similar, and then you could have an ecosystem that interconnects between these different workflows. Very nice, thank you. Great work.
Okay, thank you, Sally. The time maybe for the last question. There is some question in chat or some small notes. So if you want to comment.
There is a link to Programming Historian project.
Okay.
And I suppose that, yeah.
Okay, so if there is no other question here, as well as in online environment, I would like to thank you all for the first session.